Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedbuilding video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video I'm going to be building a house in the world of Willow Creek, which is one of the base game worlds, and I'm going to be building a big family home. So this house is built on a 30 by 20 lot in the neighbourhood where the Goth family originally lived once you open up a new save file. Now there is an official name for this neighbourhood, I know there is, but I never refer to it as that neighbourhood, plus I don't actually know it because I always just refer to it as where the Goth household live, as well as the other neighbourhood as well. There is another neighbourhood in Willow Creek where the Pancake family live. That's also got an official neighbourhood name. To me, it will always be where Bob and Eliza Pancakes live. But anyway, moving on from that and actually talking a little bit more about this house. So this house has 3 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, but if you would like to, you could very easily make it into a 5-bedroom house. But for the idea for the family that I want to live here in my save file, which by the way this house is going to be for my save, I decided to only make it into the 3 bedrooms. But on the upstairs portion of the home, we have a bedroom for a toddler, a child, and then a parent's bedroom. All of the bedrooms actually have ensuites, which a toddler's got an ensuite. You can tell that this family's got a little bit of money. And then there is an extra bathroom upstairs as well, which is kind of like a main bathroom. I don't think anyone's going to be using it as every sim has their own ensuite, but the option's there. And then also there is a bathroom downstairs as well, because I always try to put bathrooms downstairs, try and put them near the front door, because the idea that I've got in my mind, if your sim's going out like for whatever they're doing and they need a wee, they can just pop into the toilet downstairs instead of walking upstairs. I mean, it's not the longest mission to get your sims to walk from the downstairs to the upstairs, but say if your sims are about to go to work or the kids are about to go to school and they need to go, then it saves them from, taking their shoes off and running back upstairs. You can just, pop into the downstairs bathroom. As well, actually, if your sims ever have their friends over, you ain't gonna get your mates to walk all the way upstairs to use the bathroom when there's a bathroom downstairs. Maybe it's a guest bathroom. I don't know why I'm talking so long about a bathroom. But anyway, as well as the loads of bathrooms that there is in this house, with the other 2 rooms which you could very easily make into bedrooms, I decided to make one into a home office and then the other one into probably the biggest walk-in wardrobe that I've ever built in any Sims build ever. It's absolutely huge. It technically is actually 2 rooms put together. You'll see it as we get further into the video, and you can kind of see that I'm going around now and I'm doing the floor plan. So you see on the left hand side we've got kind of like that strip. That is what the strip is actually what ends up being the walk-in wardrobe. There is so many different clothes and shoes, and I really like the way it turned out. The way that I actually did the wardrobe, because it's kind of separated into 2 rooms. You walk into the shoe closet first, or the shoe wardrobe where all your Sims shoes are, and then you walk through an archway and it's where all the clothes are. I just absolutely love this house. I hope you guys like it as well. I think it took me around about 6.5 hours I think I had of recorded footage for this home, so it didn't take me like 20 minutes or anything. It took me quite some time to build this home, but I'm so happy with the end result, and yeah, I hope you guys like it. But anyway, as you can see, I'm just focusing on like the main, I wouldn't say driveway because there's not like a driveway area for a car, but kind of like the main portion of the home. If you were just someone that was walking in this neighbourhood, this is what you're going to see if you walk past this house. So what you can see that I've actually done is I've actually used half walls as kind of like a fence. Now, when I was building this house, I wasn't actually looking at any reference pictures, but I was trying to build something quite similar, not the same, it just had similarities to the neighbouring house. You might be able to see it at some points when I spin around the camera. But there is a house in the background which I've built previously, and I want all these houses in this neighbourhood to look the same. I don't want them to look identical, because then I'm basically going to be doing 4 builds of the exact same house. That's not what I'm going for. I'm going for the same kind of style of house, this kind of colonial style with this beautiful, absolutely beautiful red brick and the white panelling. And I also wanted to use maybe like the same kind of landscaping items and the same kind of fences. And so I wasn't looking at any reference pictures when I was building this, but I definitely did take the wallpaper inspiration and kind of like the landscaping inspiration from that previous house, because the way that I'm doing my save file, realistically, if you're going to drive down any road in England anyway, all the houses pretty much look the exact same because they were all built at the same time and they had the same people building them. And I want to bring that idea into my save file, because I don't want your sim to maybe be in a blue Suburban, say for example, and the neighbour is in some really modern house that is all just block white, and it doesn't make sense, and it just doesn't fit in with the world. I want all of my houses as well to actually fit in with the neighbourhoods and the worlds that they're built in. And so the way that I'm doing my save is all the houses in neighbourhoods will have similarities to the other houses, just so they don't look out of place. And I just really like this idea. Like I said, it's a common thing in England for drive down the road and you see the same house about 10 times. It's just how their houses are built here. And so I wanted just to bring that aspect into this build. Structure wise, this house and the neighbouring house actually look nothing alike, because the way that I've actually just built the structure before I do all the wallpapering and the, you know, all the shebang that goes into a house, structurally they are actually completely different houses, but the way that it kind of ties in and makes it look like it was built at the same time was just the wallpapers and similar kind of fences and maybe similar kind of columns. One thing as well is actually the little bit on the side, which you can kind of see there's a pathway leading to. That's something that I actually originally did, I think, in that first house. I've been doing it quite a lot in quite a lot of the other houses that I've been doing. I actually built a rental in Silver Dorada, and I did that same idea with kind of like a little alleyway using some of the base game arches, which are meant to be for the inside of the house, but I've been putting them on the outside, and I just really like doing like a little pathway alley thing on the side. I just really like it. I think it looks really nice. But at the end of the video, I will actually include a screenshot of this house and the neighbouring house together, so you can kind of see what it will look like eventually on this side of the road. Once my save file is released, you kind of get an idea of what the house is going to look like, and you can kind of see the similarities in their house and also, you know, the differences and whatnot. But anyway, moving on from that, as you can see, I'm just going around now, and I've actually just started doing the landscaping in the back garden. As you would have seen, I do actually want to mention it just in case you were curious what I was doing. In the front garden, I actually just went around with some terrain paint and put it underneath the pathway. I do this in pretty much every single one of my builds now. It's just a little detail that I really like. It just adds a realistic touch, because realistically, if you're going to have a pathway leading up to a house or wherever it's going to, it's not going to be completely clean cut. There's going to be a little bit of dirt either side where the paving slabs were put in. I just think it's such a nice little small detail that just makes builds look so much more realistic, and I've been doing it for the longest time, but I just thought I'd mention it just in case you're new here and you're wondering, what are you doing over there adding terrain paint underneath a path and you can't see it? If you look very closely, it adds a little bit more depth, and it's just a nice little extra bit of realism. But anyway, as you can see over here, I'm just adding in these kind of like fake fences onto this little alleyway, because basically whenever you have a wall and you have an archway, you can't actually put one of the in-game fences on it, because it will basically cancel out the wall, and so then the wall will disappear. The archways will still stay in place, but the wall will just disappear, and it makes absolutely no sense. So basically what I've been doing is I've actually been using some debug or like live edit fences to actually place down, because you still get the idea in your head that that's a fence, but on paper, I say on paper, sorry, it's because Love Island's on at the minute, on paper it's not actually a real fence, but your Sims won't like fall off that little archway or anything. Also, I feel like this is a very good time to mention that I have actually play tested this whole entire house and there was no problems whatsoever. So once you download it off their gallery, you won't run into any problems, because I play tested the whole thing and yeah, there was no issues. But anyway, moving on from that and actually talking about the household that are going to be living here in my save file, because this house is going to be for my save file like I've mentioned. So the household consists of 4 Sims. There is 2 parents, 1 child and 1 toddler, and the storyline is once upon a time there was a couple, and you know, they were a young couple, they got married quite early on and they had their first child. Now this couple took out quite a big mortgage for their house. Now I've actually got a mod installed which kind of gave me this idea, because there's a mod called SimCity Loans, where basically your Sims can realistically take a mortgage out from the bank so they can buy a nice house and they pay it back in loan payments. I was thinking that this family did that. Obviously for my save file there's not going to be any mods required, but it was just kind of what inspired me to get that idea. But anyway, so they took out this mortgage for this house, and then they realised that one of the parents is going to have quite a high earning job to be able to actually pay the mortgage every month, and so they got a job in the salary person career. Now if anyone's ever played the salary person career that we got from Snowy Escapes, you will know your Sims ain't ever home. In my own personal current gameplay, one of my Sims is a salary person. They're never in the house, they're always at work, because it is such a high demanding job. It's like I think one of the shifts is like 8 to 5, but then there's the choice to do overtime. And your Sims basically, if they're in that career, they wake up, they have breakfast, they go to work, they come home, they have a shower, they eat dinner, and they go to bed, and then so on and so forth for 5 days a week. So they're never really in the house. So the idea that I had is, after a little while, the Sim was never home, and the other Sim got a bit like, right, it's either me or the job, because I never really get to see you. And the Sim chose the job. And so their marriage just went downhill. They got a divorce. And then a few years later, this Sim, the current parent Sim, met another Sim, which was maybe a little bit of a younger Sim than their own age. I was thinking that maybe the original parent of the original kind of storyline was an adult, and then the new parent is a young adult. Anyway, long story short, the two get married, they move into this really beautiful house, and they had a toddler together. and that is kind of like the storyline for the family. Now, like I mentioned, one of the parents is going to be in the salary person career, a very high demanding job, and that is where the office part of this house comes in. They have their own office upstairs to do all their salary person documents and write reports and make phone calls and all the whatnot that goes into that career. And then with the big walk-in wardrobe, it actually ties in with the other parent's career, who is going to be a style influencer or like a trend setter, basically like a fashion designer, stylist kind of sim. And so that's where the big walk-in wardrobe came in, because I was like, you can't have a sim that lives in this big fancy house with just like a single chest of drawers for where they keep all their clothes. It would make a lot more sense if they had a massive walk-in wardrobe. Like I already mentioned, if you want to download this house and maybe you want to change the walk-in wardrobe to be an extra bedroom, or maybe you want to change the office to be like an extra bedroom or an activity room, you can honestly do whatever you want once you download this house, but that is the reasoning behind why the wardrobe in this house is just so big. But moving on to the backstory for the children. Now, children are so hard to give in-depth backstories to, because, especially toddlers as well, because toddlers, they've only been here for about a week, and how are you meant to have an in-depth backstory for a week-long lifespan? But for the child, I was kind of thinking that they really like gaming, because I added a really nice little gaming area into their bedroom, which I just think came together so nicely. But secondly, I feel like they're a really good student in school, like straight A's kind of thing. I feel like if it was The Sims 2 and they had the option to call the principal round to come for dinner to maybe get them into a private school, that phone call would have happened. Why is that not a thing in The Sims 4? I miss private schools. I mean, I don't even think any of my Sims actually was able to actually attend a private school, because the dinners always just flopped and it just didn't go down well. But in The Sims 2, if you never played The Sims 2, you was able to actually invite the principal of a private school round for dinner, and then you could kind of convince them to let your kid go to school at their private school. I miss that in The Sims 4. If that was an option, I feel like that option would be something that this family has done. But I kind of feel like the kid doesn't have the best of relationships with their biological parent that kind of just upped and left them in the middle of the night, because I was thinking in my head, maybe it happened when the kid was actually a toddler, and then obviously since their other parent has got remarried and their step parent technically has kind of just raised them and actually just become their parent, because you don't have to be biologically related to someone to call them your parent. And so I was kind of thinking that maybe they don't want to be involved in the parent that left. They don't want anything to do with them. But this other parent sees how well the family's doing, and maybe there's a bit of envy there, a little bit of jealousy. Maybe they want to try and get back into the family. Who knows? Time will tell with my safer when it comes out eventually. But anyway, moving on from that. Oh yeah, and the toddler's like a couple of days old. There's not really much of an in-depth backstory there. Maybe they're doing quite well in their thinking and movement skills. Who knows? It's a toddler. But anyway, moving on from that and actually talking about what I'm doing right now. So as you would have seen, I've already done the back garden, I've already done the hallway, and I've actually now moved on into the kitchen. So in the back garden, we have a massive swimming pool, we have some sun loungers, we also have a barbecue area, and then we have two porches. We have one at the back of the house and one at the front of the house. On the front of the house, I put the chess table down because I was thinking that the kid's gonna have I think it's called Whiz Kid child aspiration. There's only like 4 child aspirations in the game, which is shameful. There should be more, let's be realistic. But I reckon they have that aspiration, and part of like one of the goals for that is to play at a chess table for 2 hours, I think it is. And so I added one of them into the little front porch bit, and then on the back of the house I have some seating area and then also some planters as well, if your Sims want to maybe do some gardening, grow some flowers or whatnot. And then in the hallway, it's just a simple, nice little walkway into the house. We have a little side table somewhere where your Sims can throw their keys down, their post and whatever. I actually used a debug parcel. I was kind of thinking maybe it was like an Amazon parcel that they haven't opened up yet. And I also placed down some bills there. And I also put some like shoes below it and stuff like that. And then in the kitchen, as you would have just seen, quite a big kitchen. Now, if you remember the house that I did across the road, which is kind of similar to this house, the insides of these houses look completely different. The one across the road, I wanted it to be like a little bit more fancier, a little bit more luxury inside. Whereas this house, I wanted it to feel really homely. Like, I wanted you to be able to walk in this house and just want to go and sit down on the sofa, because I feel like with some houses, they can be so well done and so nicely decorated that you don't really feel like you can go and sit down on the sofa and, you know, eat popcorn and watch a film. I wanted your Sims to be able to do that in this house. I wanted it to feel like a really homely home. And so as you can see, the colour palette for the inside of this house is quite beige and brown, and it's just nice warm colours, and it just feels like a really warm family home. As you would have seen, I also just did the utility room. I do love a utility room in my Sims builds. In there we just got a washing machine, a tumble dryer, and then I placed a load of different kind of decorational objects that looks like washing detergent and dryer sheets, I think they're called, don't have them in the UK, but you know, like all the washing stuff. I'm on, I don't know if anyone else is on it, but I'm on washing TikTok, you know, like laundry refill TikTok, and I'm obsessed with it. So all the stuff that would be in them laundry room TikToks would be in this utility room in this house. But now I've actually just moved on, I've actually started doing the dining room. In the dining room, it's quite simple. We just have a table, some chairs, we have an armchair in the corner for your Sims to sit down, maybe read a book, and then we just have a plant in the other corner. Dining rooms are actually quite hard to furnish, especially one of that size, because basically when I originally came in and I actually did the floor plan, this room, which I've actually now moved on to, which is the lounge room, was actually split into two, and on the left hand side I was going to do the dining room, and then on the right hand side I was going to do the lounge. But then I actually added some exterior chimneys to the exterior of the house, and I can't have a house that has chimneys with actually no fireplaces in because it makes no sense. And so I'd kind of moved around with the floor plan. You would have seen it anyway. I did decide to keep that footage in, but I kind of configured the floor plan so this room is now one big room. It makes more sense as well. If you were to look at this house from the outside, you would assume that they've got quite a big lounge, which actually in the end they do actually have quite a big lounge space. So in here I used the cats and dogs fireplace, and then I actually moved objects, a TV on top of it. Originally there's actually a mirror on this fireplace, but I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think the mirror is actually usable. I just think it's like decoration. But either way, I moved objects, a TV on top of it, and then I used two of the base game sofas, and then actually paired it with one of the cats and dogs armchairs. I love these sofas so much, and I'm really holding out for a two-seater version because they just look so homely and, you know, warming and comforting, and you know, you want to sit down on a Friday night and just pig out and eat all the food and watch a film on them sofas. I mean, I do. I don't know about you, but I do. But also in this room, we also have a bookcase in the corner. I also ended up putting the Parenthood board on the other wall. And then over here, I'm just playing around with this kind of little like coffee table thing. I was thinking maybe they store all their DVDs in there and all like the kind of like films that they want to watch. But then once I was building that, and I actually came to the realization, actually, I'm showing my age a little bit here. People don't have DVDs anymore. Unless you're a film collector, most people just have Netflix or Amazon Prime. But maybe they're old school, maybe they like to collect DVDs, and maybe that's where they keep them, in the little cabinet next to the TV. But over here, I'm just quickly doing this little hallway entrance, which actually goes out to the back garden. I just put a little kind of like shelf that's got like dog leads and collars on. I was thinking that this family do actually have a dog, so that's why I added that in. And there's also a little bench where your Sims can actually sit down and put their shoes on before they go outside. And now I've actually moved on to the upstairs portion of this house, and I've actually started off by doing the bathroom. Like always, I only show the furnishing of one bathroom because they're all practically the exact same, apart from the two en-suites for the children's room and the toddler's room. But when I actually go in and start furnishing at both of them bedrooms, you'll kind of see the bathrooms in the back corner anyway. It's just really boring watching someone furnish basically the exact same bathroom 5 times, and so I only show the furnishing for this one. This is technically the master bathroom, so this is the one that's not attached to any bedrooms, and I feel like it's the one that no one will use because everyone's got an ensuite. But anyway, now I've actually moved on, I've actually started furnishing the bedrooms, and I started off by furnishing the toddler's room. So in here I went for the Eco Lifestyle collection, so the bed is from Eco Lifestyle, as well as that little chest of drawers, and as well as that little chicken painting, which I just thought was so adorable. They are all from Eco Lifestyle. Oh, and also the dollhouse as well. The dollhouse is also from Eco Lifestyle. I really like that dollhouse. I find myself never really going for the base game ones anymore. I always seem to go for this one. It's just got a lot more personality to it, I think anyway. But in here, as you can see, it's got everything that a toddler needs. In the bathroom, you would have just seen that I actually placed down a toddler potty. There is also one other toddler potty in this house, and it's on the downstairs level. I was kind of thinking maybe if your toddler needs a wee, but they're downstairs, it's going to be a bit of a mission, especially with their little legs, to walk all the way upstairs. And so there is a toddler potty downstairs in that bathroom, and then there is also one in their ensuite. Over here, I'm just cluttering up the little chest of drawers area. I'm placing down some toddler books and some kind of like decorations and teddy bears and toddler bottle, baby bottle kind of things. Also in this room, there is an armchair, which is one of the base game ones, I believe, but I place it down with the idea in my head that maybe one of the parents of a nighttime reads the toddler to sleep. There is also a little children's toy box. There's also the little stacking tower block things on the rug in the middle. There's basically everything that a toddler will want to do is in this room. There's also a tablet on the little side table as well. But now I've actually moved on into the children's bedroom, or the kids' bedroom. So you might be able to see in this bedroom, there's actually a chimney which will lead out to the exterior. So you know I said about how I had to rework the floor plan because I added in the chimneys, but then I wanted there to be a fireplace and all that shebang. Or basically, I wanted there to actually be chimneys for the fire to go out with. Now, normally I would do it on the exterior of houses, but I literally used every single tile that I could possibly use when I was building this house. So there was no way that I was actually going to be able to add an exterior chimney. So I decided to put it onto the inside. So you can kind of see that little bump out by where the bookcase is. That is for the chimney, and it's the same for the toddler's room. Now that is directly above the fireplace, which is in the lounge room downstairs. But there is actually 2 chimneys in this house. But on the other side, basically the chimney ends up being in the walk-in wardrobe, but it's not there. There's no fireplace there, because I was thinking that maybe it was a really old fireplace and they just blocked it up and they didn't want it there anymore. And when maybe they renovated this house and they renovated one of the bedrooms to become a walk-in wardrobe for the parent that's a style influencer, maybe they decided that they really didn't need the fireplace and they would much rather have it to put the little fashion stylist board thing that comes with that career, because that's actually what ends up going on that wall. But I just thought I'd mention it. But there's no fireplace on the downstairs portion below the chimney in the walk-in wardrobe. I hope I'm making sense. You'll see it as we get further into the video. But as you can see, I'm just going around and finishing up the child's bedroom. So as you can see, I've actually used one of the, I think it's a get to work TV, and I placed it on the wall just kind of above where this little chest of drawers area is. The chest of drawers is actually from Parenthood, as well as the bed and the bedside table. Then the desk is from Discover University, and then the bookcase is from Dream Home Decorator. And then I just went around and just tried to clutter it up as much as possible, using so many different debug menu items. I used some of the statues, I used some of the collectibles that we have in the game, anything that I could basically find in the debug menu which I felt was children related, I tried to put into that room. But with the video gaming station, I actually placed some cushions down on the floor which are from Parenthood, I believe, and your Sims can just sit there. You know, your Sims kids after school, they come home, have had a hard day, just go sit down in front of the TV and there's a little video game console up there and they can just play games. I also added in the Sims version of that speaker that you can speak to. Now I'm purposely not saying the name just in case anyone's got one and I might set it off, but you know the Lindsay speaker where your Sims can ask it to do stuff. I also placed one of them in that room as well. But now I've actually moved on, I've actually started furnishing the home office. So this is the parent who is a salary person. This is where they're going to be spending the majority of their time. So in here, above kind of the desk area, I wanted there to be an award situation. So like I said, originally in their first marriage, it was a lot of job related. The other parent left because this sim was so obsessed with their job and they wanted to be the best salary person that they could possible. I feel like in doing that, you're probably going to win a few awards for dedicating the majority of your Sim's life to this job. And so I added one of the Brightchester diplomas or degrees. I imagine this Sim went to uni. There's also a Doctors of Medicine diploma underneath it, I think, but let's pretend that's something else. And then I also added a salary person award, because your Sims can actually get awards from different careers in the game, and as well as some actually just awards. And then in there as well, there is kind of a little pie chart kind of thing. I imagine that's something for the next business meeting. And there's also a bookcase and then just some filing cabinets, because I feel like they're going to have a couple of filing cabinets in an office that is, you know, very businessy related. But anyway, now moving on, I've started furnishing the walk-in wardrobe. Like I've said throughout this whole entire video, it's quite a big space, and as you can see, it is quite a big space. So in here on one side we have an area where all the clothes are hanging down, and then on the other side it's mainly just shoes and shoe boxes and what I imagine to be jewellery boxes and stuff like that. Now I use all the new sectionals which are from the Dream Home Decorator game pack. I really like the new sectionals, I really do. I also find them very annoying, because basically when you place any of these furniture items together, or the ones that came from Dream Home Decorator, the majority of them kind of clip together, which is great, but give me a hotkey so I don't have to have them clipped together. So basically what I mean by that is you can kind of see I've got these little kind of squared cubes in the middle of some of the wardrobe areas. Say if I wanted to take one of them out, it would have already clipped to some of the other wardrobe pieces, so I can't just take that one little thing out. I have to take the whole lot out, and it is so annoying. I really wish there was a hotkey. There might be, but I haven't found it. I was going around, I was pressing shift, control, all these different buttons on my keyboard trying to figure out if I could just individually pick up one of the sectionals instead of the whole thing, and I couldn't find one. So if anyone knows of a hotkey kind of situation to fix that, please let me know, because I need to know that. But now moving on, I've started furnishing the last room in this house, which is the parents' bedroom. So in here, I went for the Dream Home Decorator bed, and then I actually paired it with these Discover University bedside tables. Now there is actually some bedside tables that came with the Dream Home Decorator game pack, and the wood swatches are meant to be the same. they ain't the same. I'll tell you that. They are not the same swatch, and it really annoys me. And so I found that these Discover University ones just go so much better and actually match the wood swatch, even though technically the other wood swatches, it doesn't matter. They're meant to be the same, they're not the same, and so I used some from Discover University. But I also just finished off this room by adding in a little dressing table and then just clutter it up with some debug items like some makeup palettes and lipsticks and perfumes, and that's basically it. So anyway guys, I'm actually going to end this voiceover here. As always, you can download this build via the gallery. My origin ID is JessicapieYT, or you could just search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, if you do like my content then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speedbuilding video. Bye guys!